My beautiful wife, her name was Elena. The CEO's name was Julian Thorne. I'd met him once at a company gala, a man with the kind of sculpted, empty handsomeness you see on a real estate billboard. He'd shaken my hand with a grip that was too firm, held it a beat too long, and looked at Elena with an ownership that made my blood run cold. Every day, the pattern was the same. She'd leave for work in her A-line skirt and silk blouse, her hair smelling of the expensive shampoo I'd bought her for her birthday. She'd kiss me on the cheek, a brief, dismissive peck, and say, "Big meeting today, don't wait up." And then, according to the meticulous log I'd started keeping, her location, shared with me through a family app we use for our daughter's school pickups, would ping from the sleek downtown office tower to the Meridian at 1:15 p.m. It would stay there until 2:45 p.m. every single day. The betrayal was bad enough, but it was the efficiency of it that truly broke something in me. The lunchtime slot, the clinical, scheduled nature of it. It wasn't a passionate affair. It was a recurring business meeting with benefits. It reduced my wife, my life, to a calendar invite. Today was the day. I wasn't going to be the cuckold who only knew about it from a key card and a digital map. I was going to be the man who saw it with his own eyes. I took a personal day. I told my boss I had the flu. I sat in my aging Honda Civic, parked across the street from the Meridian's discreet side entrance, the one that bypassed the main lobby. The city hummed around me, indifferent. At 12:58 p.m., my phone buzzed. A text from Elena. Forgot to say, dinner's in the fridge for Lily. I'll be late again. Crunch time on the McKinley project. Love you. Love you. The words were a foreign language now. I watched the words on the screen until they blurred, then locked the phone and shoved it in my pocket. At 1010 p.m., a sleek black Audi A8 pulled into the hotel's private drive. Julian Thorne got out first, adjusting his cufflinks, his posture radiating the smug confidence of a man who owned everything his eyes surveyed. He didn't look around. He didn't need to. He walked to the side door with the unthinking ease of a man entering his own home. My wife followed 30 seconds later. She got out of her own car, a sensible crossover we'd bought when Lily was born. She looked radiant. Her cheeks were flushed, her lips a shade of red I'd never seen her wear. She tucked a stray strand of hair behind her ear, a nervous, girlish gesture that made my stomach clench. She paused to check her phone, then followed him inside. The world didn't shatter. There was no dramatic thunderclap. Instead, a terrible, crystalline clarity settled over me. The numbness evaporated, replaced by a cold, focused rage. I got out of the car. I didn't have a plan. I had a keycard and a blind, primal need to witness the truth. I walked to the same side door, finding it unlocked, a breach of security that felt like a personal insult. The hallway was quiet, smelling of lemon polish and expensive flowers. My footsteps were silent on the plush carpet. I didn't need to guess the room number. I'd done my reconnaissance. A friend in the hotel's IT department, a man who owed me a favor from a long-ago weekend spent helping him move, had confirmed it. Room 422, a permanent booking under Thorne Industries. I stood in the elevator, watching my reflection in the brushed steel doors. I saw a man with tired eyes, a receding hairline, and a slightly too large polo shirt. I saw the man my wife traded in every day for a corner office, and a man with sculpted hands. The elevator doors opened onto the 4th floor. The hallway was a long, silent tunnel of cream walls and mahogany doors. I walked to 412-2. I didn't knock. I slid the keycard into the slot. A green light blinked. A soft click. I pushed the door open. The room was a suite all beige and chrome, impersonal and cold. A half-eaten club sandwich sat on a room service cart, a single bite taken out of it. 2 champagne flutes, one with a lipstick stain the same shade as the red on Elena's lips, stood beside it. Her tote bag, the one I'd found the keycard in, was on a chair. Her blazer was draped over the back. And then I heard it. A low, breathless moan. Not of pain, but of pleasure. A sound I hadn't heard from my wife in years. It came from the partially open bedroom door. I moved forward, each step feeling like I was wading through cement. My hand trembled as I pushed the door. It swung open on silent hinges, revealing a scene that has been seared into my memory, playing on an endless loop in the darkest hours of the night. The bed was a mess of white sheets. Julian Thorne was on his back, his shirt unbuttoned, his eyes closed, a look of smug satisfaction on his face. And my wife, Elena, was straddling him. Her hair was down, cascading over her bare shoulders. She wore only a lace bra and her work skirt, which was bunched around her waist. She was leaning over him, her lips tracing a path from his collarbone to his ear. She was laughing, a low, intimate, conspiratorial laugh. I had caught them. Red-handed. The phrase echoed in my skull, grotesque and literal. Their skin was flushed, their movements unhurried, as if they had all the time in the world I had built with her. I should have roared. I should have charged in, fists swinging. I should have done something dramatic, something worthy of the nuclear devastation I felt, but what came out of me was something far more pathetic. A sound of choked, strangled exhale that was half a sob and half a scoff. Elena's head snapped up. Her eyes, half-lidded with passion a moment before, went wide with primal, unadulterated terror. The color drained from her face, leaving her ashen. Julian's eyes flew open. He saw me. For a split second, the smugness vanished, replaced by a flicker of genuine alarm. Then, in a move that was almost comical in its panic, he shoved Elena off him. She fell sideways onto the mattress with a startled yelp, clutching the sheet to her chest. Julian scrambled backward on the bed, his hands raised as if I were a charging bull. "Mark," Elena whispered. Her voice was a ragged, broken thing. "Mark, what are you? I had a key," I said. My voice didn't sound like mine. It was flat, hollow, as if it were coming from the bottom of a well. I held up the keycard, my hand perfectly steady now. "From your bag, the one you use for your lunch meetings." Julian found his voice. It was strained, but he was already trying to reclaim control. "Listen, Mark, this isn't what it looks like. We were going over some contracts. Elena's been under a lot of pressure. Things got out of hand. This was a mistake, a momentary lapse in judgment." I stared at him. The sculpted jaw, the perfect hair, the hands that had just been on my wife. He was trying to frame this as a singular, regrettable event, a slip, a one-time thing born of corporate pressure. I looked at Elena. She was still clutching the sheet, her eyes darting between me and Julian. She was terrified, but there was something else there, a flicker of calculation, of damage control. "A momentary lapse," I repeated Julian's words, tasting their absurdity. I walked slowly into the room, past the scattered clothes, past the champagne flutes. I picked up Elena's phone from the bedside table, then explained the last 3 weeks, explained the 6 months of late nights and early mornings, explained the permanent hotel booking under your company's name. Julian's mask of calm cracked. He looked at Elena, a silent, accusatory glare. "You told him?" it seemed to say. "He doesn't know anything," Elena snapped at Julian, her fear momentarily eclipsed by anger at him. She turned back to me. "Mark, please, put the phone down. Let's talk about this. At home, not here. Please." "At home," I echoed again, the word a bitter joke. "Our home, where Lily is. You want to talk there? After you've been coming here every day to deep dive with your boss, that's when the dam broke. Not in me, in her." The terror in her eyes hardened. The mask of the dutiful, slightly stressed wife and the mask of the passionate secret lover both fell away. What was left was something I didn't recognize, something hard and cold and utterly, terrifyingly pragmatic. "You want to know?" she said, her voice dropping to a low, steady pitch. She let the sheet fall, her modesty suddenly a non-issue. She reached for her blouse, pulling it on with deliberate, unhurried movements. "You want the truth, Mark? Fine." Julian looked alarmed. "Elena, don't. We should get a lawyer. Let's not say anything." "Shut up, Julian," she said, not even looking at him. Her eyes were locked on mine. "This isn't about you." She stood up, buttoning her blouse. The woman before me was no longer the Elena I'd married. She was a stranger, and she was terrifying in her composure. "6 months ago, Julian told me he was going to make me a partner," she began, her voice flat. "It's what I've been working towards for a decade. The title, the equity, the real seat at the table. But there was a catch. It wasn't about my performance. My numbers were already the best in the firm. It was about a demonstration of loyalty." She walked past me to the room service cart, picked up the champagne glass with the lipstick stain, and took a long, slow sip. "He said he needed to know I was all in." that I was willing to do what was necessary. He'd had arrangements with other women in the firm before. They'd all gotten the promotion, and then, when the arrangement ended, they were set for life. I felt the floor drop out from under me. I looked at Julian, who was now sitting on the edge of the bed, his head in his hands. He wasn't denying it. He was just a man who had been caught, not in an affair, but in a system. So this was a transaction. I heard myself ask. My voice was a whisper. At first, she said, a flicker of something shame, perhaps crossing her features before it was ruthlessly suppressed. He made it clear. Lunchtime meetings, no strings, a business arrangement. In return, the partnership would be announced at the end of the quarter. And the every day, I pressed, you had to demonstrate loyalty every single day. She was quiet for a moment. She looked at Julian, then back at me. A strange, brittle smile touched her lips. It stopped being just about the partnership, Mark. That's what you wanted to hear, isn't it? That I was a victim, a woman forced into it for her career. It's easier to forgive that, isn't it? To be the hero who rescues me from the predatory CEO? Her voice cracked then, the hard shell showing its first fracture. But it wasn't just that, not for the last 3 months. He saw me. Not as the mum who packs lunches and forgets date nights. Not as the efficient manager. He saw me. And I liked it. I liked the way he looked at me. I liked the hotel rooms, the secrecy, the feeling of being something other than ordinary. I started going because I wanted to, not for the promotion, for myself. She looked at Julian, and for a fleeting second there was genuine affection in her eyes. It was that look that drove the final, jagged shard of glass into my heart. I could have handled her being a victim. I could have handled her being a cold-hearted schemer. But this, the messy, human truth, that she had found something in a hotel room with a man who was essentially her pimp, was far, far worse. So that's it, I said, the words tasting like ash. You sold yourself for a promotion, and then started liking the guy you were selling yourself to. And I was just the guy who paid the mortgage and picked up the dry cleaning. No, she said, her voice softening for the first time, stepping towards me. Mark, you were my stability. You were my safe place. That's what I needed. I needed the calm. And I needed this. I needed to feel like I wasn't just someone's wife and mother. I know it's selfish. I know it's unforgivable, but that's the truth. I looked at Julian. He had the decency to look like a man who had just watched a bomb detonate in his hands. He was no longer smug. He was just a pathetic, middle-aged man in an unbuttoned shirt who had confused power with desirability. I'm not going to hit you, I said to him. The thought hadn't even crossed my mind. He wasn't worth the jail time. But I am going to make you a promise. You're going to give her that partnership, the one you dangled like a carrot. You're going to give it to her in writing, with the equity and the title, within the week. Because if you don't, I will go to your board, to your shareholders, to every media outlet in this city, with the records of this room's booking, with the testimony of every other woman you've had these arrangements with. I will destroy you. Not for her. For the next woman you try this on. Julian's face went white. He nodded slowly, the fight gone out of him. I turned back to Elena. She was watching me, a strange mix of relief, sorrow, and a flicker of respect in her eyes. As for you, I said, my voice so quiet she had to lean in to hear. I'll be at the house tonight. I'll pack a bag and stay at my brother's. You can tell Lily whatever story you want to tell her, but I want you to know something. The worst part isn't the affair. It isn't even the reason you started it. It's that you chose this, the secrecy, the thrill, the scheduled daily surrender of your dignity over a simple conversation with me. You decided I wasn't worth the risk of being honest. You decided our life wasn't worth fighting for. You just outsourced the part of you that needed excitement, and you made me the manager of the mundane. I walked to the door, my legs feeling like they were made of wood. I paused and looked back. She was standing in the middle of the suite, her blouse buttoned wrong, her hair a mess, the ruins of her secret life scattered around her. I hope the partnership is worth it, I said. I hope the feeling of being seen by a man who sees women as line items on a balance sheet sustains you. Because when you get home tonight, to the house I picked out, to the daughter you helped raise, to the life we built, I won't be there. I walked out of room 412, leaving the door wide open behind me. The keycard I'd used to unlock the truth I dropped in a trash bin by the elevator. The hook was gone. The line had been cut. And the man I'd been before I walked into that room, the trusting husband, the contented father, had died somewhere between the champagne flutes and the look of genuine affection she'd given him. I was someone else now. Someone who knew that a marriage could end not with a bang, but with a scheduled, daily visit to a sterile hotel room, and that the person who inflicts the deepest wound is often not the one you're prepared to fight. It's the one you trusted with the map to your heart, who decided to trade it for a corner office and the fleeting warmth of being seen by the wrong man. The elevator doors closed, and I stared at my reflection again. The tired eyes were still there, the receding hairline, the slightly too large polo shirt. But behind them, something was gone, something I'd never get back. And as I descended to the street level, leaving them to their champagne and their shattered arrangement, I realized the most brutal truth of all. I hadn't caught them red-handed. I had finally seen my wife for who she really was, and I was the one who had been caught trapped for 6 years in a love she had only ever seen as her safe place, never her first choice.